big shot.
Oh, really?
Oh, cool.
Oh, shit!
In this video, I'm gonna talk about Warhammer 40,000 Darktide. Welcome to 38,000 years into the future. If you believe that the current times are bad and absurd, fasten your toque with some barbed wire because it gets worse. Everybody is an asshole. Literally, everybody. Humanity is a bunch of assholes. The orcs are complete assholes. The elves are pompous assholes. Even a bunch of random robot undeads are assholes. The future is grim and dark, and all humanity can do is kill every asshole in its path, so that it reigns as the supreme assholes of the universe before anybody else can. Everything is self-indulgently bad to the point of comedy. The entire point of the Warhammer 40,000 franchise is to allow players to be boisterous assholes on their own terms, to savor the thrill of victory, and to be the proud owner of the boot that stamps on a face forever. To play this franchise is to engage in the old ultra-violence, no knifey milk required. The story of Darktide is as follows. A demon from hell is interested in getting a promotion, and he chooses to do so by infesting a human city inhabited by zillions of people. Your job is to get down into the bowels of the city and undermine the enemy by way of pushing buttons in the right places and chopping off the occasional tentacle. The fair assumption is that if you are going to play a human being in this franchise, you will be a mighty space marine outfitted with the latest equipment, including, at the very least, an ability to kick industrial quantities of ass. If you were so kind as to either watch the trailer or listen to me up until this point, you will have quickly figured out that this assumption is wildly mistaken. You are not a space marine. You are a prisoner whose punishment is to do the Empire's shit jobs until you have repaid your debt to society, or, more likely, until you die in some fashion. Considering that your betters consider you closer to food than to a human at this point, you can readily expect that you will be sent into situations where coming out alive is seen as the exception rather than the norm. Of course, difficulty level oblige, you will most likely succeed in your first forays, which will make your owners realize that they unfortunately have to dedicate time and resources to your upkeep when their plan A all along had been to make you suffer an unfortunate accident. The attitude barely improves as you go up the ranks, and it will take tens of hours before the tiny little storyline cutscenes show anyone exhibiting anything of higher quality than pure and absolute scorn at the mere act of you existing anywhere whatsoever. It is fortunate that you have some fight in you, because at least you get to spend most of your time doing what you do best. Your missions all follow the usual pattern of mowing down hundreds of zombies, a smattering of smarter and tougher opponents, a dash of very special enemies, and perhaps even a mini-boss, for good measure. Much like in the Elder Scrolls, your backstory is decided upon at character creation, and then never spoken of again. The only palpable decision is the choice of your character's voice, and everything else is barely noticeable between two people from the same character class. Your clothes will be brownish red, brownish yellow, brownish green, or brownish blue. The Real Money Shop, available since the release date, offers dazzling alternate colors, such as brownish purple and brownish brown. The weaponry follows the Brown philosophy of being as nondescript as possible, with the offering of about 5 or 6 general archetypes, plus a few additional breakdowns over damage and rate of fire. Lower difficulty levels allow for anything and everything, but I can definitely understand teams at higher difficulties giving more careful attention to their loadout, so that they can complete each other with specialized equipment, in lieu of 4 people being jacks of all trades and masters of none. Within the adventure, character interactions serve to spice up the downtimes and give an insight into the personality everyone has chosen. One interaction stands out in particular in that the item ping mechanism will have you automatically offer supplies to whichever other character needs it the most. Conversely, if you pick something up when you already had plenty, the character in the most need will automatically yell at you for it. Furthermore, pinging enemies will highlight them for everyone. In case I was not being crystal clear, you will want to assign the ping function to the most easily accessible shortcut button you can find around you and mash it relentlessly until the spring gives out. It will help literally everyone. The most curious thing is that it is not the practice that fails, but the theory. Playing the game is a perfectly fine experience. The strikes have all the impact they need, both when you do them and when they land onto you. The enemies look disgusting in all the right ways. The environments are expansive and detailed. The soundtrack has a way of staying memorable. The only missing piece is your commanding officer actually shutting up. I get it. The look and feel is lore correct. The hostility is taken to comedy levels as much as it can. But let me put it this way. The reason there was a good dynamic between the characters in Left 4 Dead was because there was only one Francis. Getting belittled, patronized, and yelled at by almost everyone outside of the fire team is a joke that stops being funny after the first dozen times. It gets a little better as you level up, or so you would think, but maxing out your level takes over 30 or 40 hours per character, and in the end it only affects the random quips that the guards say when you walk by them on your home ship. The only difference between a level 1 and a level max character is the selection of items at the shop. The girl you saved in the intro mission remains coldly professional, the sergeant major will never remember your name, the tech priest is annoyed by the mere thought of you, and the contract officer is annoyed by the mere smell of you. It would be nice to have a person or two warm up to you at some point, but even the interrogator-in-chief forgets your name the moment he has given you a promotion. In one famous display of the human condition in the face of adversity, Aaron Hansen said these words: "You gotta look inside of yourself and say, what am I willing to put up with today?" For a great many of us, the supply of spoons runs low after dinner. In better and greater times, I might have had the energy to endure. I am aware that all of these mean words are being spoken by fictitious characters. But even then, I still want these characters to tell me I am doing great sometimes. If I want to get positive reinforcement, I turn to my teammates. The in-game voice chat has a person or two on the mic every so often, and the magic happens when people start acting and talking in character, especially when they play one of the big dumb boys. For better coordination at higher difficulties, the game's official Discord server is the way to go, if only to guarantee that everyone can communicate with one another. Even at the tougher difficulties, it is not just possible, but even frequent, that teammates will happily goof off between battles. Thanks to human contact, I can forget about my graphics card catching on fire due to the game's terrible optimization. I can forget about the real money cosmetics shop being a total shit show, and I can forget about whatever it is they called a crafting system. From one mission to another, it becomes apparent that the beratement coming from upstairs can turn out to be nothing more than a background noise when you have a good team to rely on. In fact, if you are so lucky, you can even obtain companions forged in fire. A good, talkative set of teammates is what makes everything click together, and it turns the barely bearable into the enjoyable. When everything centers on the relationship with the fellow ground pounders, the world around them becomes a detail woven into a greater story.
Think fast, chuckle nuts. Hey!
Holy shit!
That's illegal!
In short, this game is the friends we made along the way.